Welcome to Phoenix, Arizona, where Remy LeBeau is on pole from Guillermo Perez and Ash Cornwell. Kazuki Sims Takahata starts fourth from Nico Palomino and points leader Daf Sanchez. Alongside him, Casper LeBeau starts seventh from Lam Fong and Sebastian Campo, and to round up the top 10, Daniel Baltazarov. Matthew Hart is 11th from first year with his teammate Daniel Ortega. Then it's Charles Hernandez, David Carrera down to 15th from Vitor Alves and Nunez Garcia. Francis Austin starts 18th with Boy and teammate Ray Shen, then it's back row of Ahmed Cilia and Dominic Vancelau. Returning for round 8 of the ChampCar World Series here in Arizona, Remy LeBeau on pole, all 5 lights go on. And we are underway in the 8th round of the championship with a great start coming by ways of Sims Racing's Kazuki Takahata in the 11. They rise up coming into turn 1, Perez with the inside line and moving up into the race lead. Contact further back, that seems to be Verstio off into the wall, and it is. He's facing backwards in that number 38 Team Penske car. And he has to try and race that number 38 back onto the track with front wing damage. Just about managing to do so, but now 9 seconds, 10 seconds off the back of the pack, and Vancelau's gone off the track. He's got front wing damage too. For the man who started this race at the very back of the pack, Takahata moved up into third off the start. Perez now leads this race with Remy LeBeau right behind him. Verstio with a track limits warning, he went a little bit airborne there. And I believe, yes, they've got front wing damage at the same corner of their car as they round the final corner. Target Chip Ganassi lead this race with their number 3 car. Heading down the hill on lap 2 of 17. It's one of the shorter laps. We often go under a minute around tracks like this. It's very similar in driving style to somewhere like Sao Paulo. Attack mode is online as we go on board with Kazuki Takahata, and the cautions come out for Dominic Vancelau, who is out down at turn number 1. Looks like he went into the air slightly. His car is still down there as we look through the opening corner with Verstio. And yeah, just went off the track. It's an easy mistake to make when you've got less grip. Full course cautions here in Arizona. The KV Racing man, first man to fall after just 1 corner and a lap here in Phoenix. It's at this point, it's the full course cautions end, and I must remind you, time is running out for the ChampCar World Series Fan Boost poll, the results of which will be shown off in the community tab. Reminder that the top 3 in that poll will get a speed boost for the final 3 rounds of the championship. You can vote for as many as 3 drivers. Is into the wall for Casper LeBeau. He's got front wing damage after hitting that outside wall down at the final corner. On board we go with the 38. He's dropped down to 10th from starting in 7th, and he's out of the race. Spins it back on track and hit by Vitor Alves, who's also off the road. Hit by Francis Austin, and now he's going to have to reverse that car back on track, and he shoves your boy off the racing surface. Terrible, terrible sequence of events for the number 12. Casper LeBeau, the superstar rookie of the ERL as a whole, is out through what amounts to a rookie error, which we've actually seen very few of, as Verstio serves that time penalty down in pit lane. And you know, he came into this race tied on 47 points with, I believe, Nunez Garcia. Might get that wrong because I don't have the standings on me right now. But that's going to be very bad for his title challenge. Might just be over for him, as in come the race leaders. Daf Sanchez coming down into pit lane, and he's turning that car while it's in the pits. He's out. That's one of the worst glitches I've seen in this game. Full course cautions coming out here in Phoenix, Arizona. The points leader, Daf Sanchez, is out. It's go time for Guillermo Perez right now. He wins this race. He pulls himself within 2 points of that points lead. Can't take the lead after this race, but he can get himself within striking distance for round 9. And so for Guillermo Perez, who currently leads this race, he's on course for a beautiful result. 31% for Ray Shen after 4 laps. Tyres probably not going to be too much of an issue today, as Shen making his way through the hairpin. for Davi Circulero. That's some good news. If he can get some points and get himself closer to his teammate, maybe upper management may reconsider. But I'm going to be wholly honest here. The Brazilian driver has had a pretty woeful debut season. He had a pretty good run going in Germany as race leader Guillermo Perez comes down into pit lane. He had a pretty good run going in Germany. The collision with Ash Cornwell was really bad for the man who won on his first start in the ERL US series back in season 1. As he gets close to the wall, keeps it out of the barriers. He's going to move up the order here. Remy Lebeau, your leader from Cornwell and Takahana. Circulero's just punched in the fastest lap as there goes Bogdasarov past the man who now holds that fastest lap. Doesn't hold any points, and actually Circulero, Garcia and Cilia are the only guys out there with 5-lap-old hard compound tyres, so the team's able to gather some amount of data to go quite quickly around this track. And for Cornwell, that early stop has paid off, as now Verslio sets the fastest lap. He's on the back of Remy Lebeau. Perez came out of the pits on the hards, and he's down in 7th place behind Davi Circulero. On board we go with Palomino, who could try and overtake his teammate today in the point standings, going for his second ERL US title. Going through the final corner, where we've seen already 2 drivers face an incident that wound up ending their race, as forced close to the boundaries of this track for Circulero. He comes down into the pits, Ortega getting past him. Attack mode online for Ash Cornwell after a very unfortunate race in Tokyo, Japan in the FG series. Was about to call it the Ace Championship. As here comes Palomino, his advance has to stop as Matthew Hart is out of this race. We can't see that Forsyth. For the man who won the ChampCar Trophy of Germany, he is now out. The caution's returning for a 4th time here in Phoenix, Arizona. Good time for Alves and Verslio to both come down into pit lane. As the cautions end and we're back under green. Cornwell needed a good exit. He's gone away from Takahana using some attack charge, going down into the final few corners. Can he try and get past the 26 coming through them? Looking back with Remy Lebeau, who's likely to come down into the pits, and that's Cornwell who's hit the wall. Front wing damage for the number 96. That bodes poorly as he comes up the hill on lap 7 of 17. 10 to go from Phoenix, Arizona, and he makes it through turn 1 with damage. First man to do that all day, but it's only good enough for some bragging points as here comes Takahana, to take the lead. Cornwell drops down to 2nd, managing that front wing damage as Perez moves up into 3rd place. Strategy's going to be a big talking point today, is forced off the track there for the 26 as Garcia off the road, and he's hit Davi Circulero once again in this championship. Big wreck there for Ahmed Cilia as Danny Ortega comes up to the scene of the incident once again. A hyperdrive and a Dale coin come to blows. Circulero completing the set that he started back in Germany. That's not good news. If he wants to stay in the ChampCar World Series, he'd be moving to a team where he had actively impeded their progress in. In comes Ash Cornwell to fix that front wing, goes onto the hard compound tyres, which we've seen go quite a long distance in this race. Lam Fong trying to move past Ocampo. The rear wing opens up going down the straight. He's going to go side by side with the Power Motorsport man and take 4th place away from the man who won last time out in Belgium. Coming up the hill for Ash Cornwell, he's 4 seconds off of Remy Lebeau coming out of the pits. Palomino with a time penalty as he gets past the British driver. And now for Cornwell, they've got a very tough ask to do in 8th place now. Try and close up to the guys in front of him. And now the chase really begins. If Cornwell can get that first race win today, that would mean quite a lot, because it would mean that now both of the Dale Coin drivers would be race winners in the ChampCar World Series. Davi Circulero for Hyperdrive Racing. That's the struggle, as now the top 3 all down into pit lane. fact top 4 all down into pit lane. Ocampo's in as well. Lam Fong's come in. So Remy LeBeau, your race leader on lap 9 of 17. We're approaching half race distance. In fact, we've pretty much eclipsed it at this point. Cornwell running in 3rd. It's a net P2 as Takahana comes out of the pits in 4th. Perez comes out in 5th. And on the soft compound of tyres, Target Chip Ganassi going for a very fast stint here as Hernandez getting a time penalty for track limits. His teammate about to be passed by Danny Ortega, who's going to try and make the lunge on your boy. Almost contact with the Frenchman, and there is contact into the wall for the rookie. And also off into the wall there, Lam Fong in the 73. They've both hit the wall. For Danny Ortega, that was an audacious lunge. He'll be glad to know that your boy now has a time penalty, but he definitely went for the lunge that didn't exist. Garcia with a 3rd and final track limits warning down in 18th place. 7 to go from Phoenix, Arizona. Remy LeBeau leads from Nico Palomino and Ash Cornwell. Here comes Cornwell with the rear wing wide open, side by side. Easiest pass of his career. And now he's free to chase after the race lead. In terms of what the strategy currently looks like, you probably still have 2 more stops to make as Lam Fong is out of this race. That's down at turn 1, isn't it? Looking back, we couldn't catch him either. What's with these cards disappearing out of existence? Something tells me they nose bug or something. And in terms of the strategy for Ash Cornwell right now, if he wants to win this race over Remy LeBeau, right now, what he has to do is follow the strategy of LeBeau to a T. And another caution comes out. That's Charles Hernandez down at turn 4. Full course cautions return. And the Thai driver has had an engine failure. I couldn't hear the engines in my headphones. I'm sorry, guys. So, again, if that helps, then I'm going to continue with it. Full course cautions end. 7 laps to go. We're back under the green flags here in Phoenix. Hopefully for more than just half a lap. Cornwell staying out on lap 11 of 17. Actually, theoretically, the best idea to do for Cornwell: come in at the end of lap 12. Go on to another set of hards. Take those hards to the end. Alternatively, come in, strap on some mediums, come in again on lap 15 for softs, and take those to the end. But quite possibly the hards are the better tyres to end this race on, as Ortega going off the track with Alfson, your boy, fighting over 9th place, going side by side and in front of the Frenchman. But there's the lunge for Vita Alves, and a vital pass to move up into 9th place for the Brazilian. Your boy now looking at a potential lunge that could get him up into 7th here if he can hold on to it. Lunges and gets past Francis Austin Boctasara for the time penalty, and Ocampo with a time penalty as well. Perez coming into the pits for his 3rd stop. Off the track there for Remy LeBeau, slightly touching the curb more likely. Lap 12 of 17, Cornwell leading from Takahana and Daniel Bogdasarov. Remy LeBeau with a 5-second time penalty. That is for track limits on those relatively fresh soft compound tyres. And there goes Palomino past his teammate, but hopping over the track boundaries there. On board we go with your boy having to defend from Francis Austin, yes. And what other way do you have than to get past man who's just coming to the pits? There's the lunge for the Frenchman. Failed. Denied. 3rd word, that means no, he couldn't make the pass. Ray Shen getting a time penalty further back for track limits as Takahana going side by side further up with Ash Cornwell. And Austin just about holding on. Takahana with a time penalty for track limits as Cornwell dives down into pit lane with Bogdasarov. Remy LeBeau will move in front of the British driver, making use of a 2-lap undercut. But now for Cornwell, he's on to the mediums. He might have another stop to make in this race. We've already seen his FG Series team in Trackhouse Racing fail on the strategy side of things. The question is, can the mediums do 4 laps to the end of this race? Perez with a time penalty for track limits. Could actually only be 3 laps, which is very manageable for Ash Cornwell. But if it is 4, that could be a problem as he now runs in 5th as here comes the launch from your boy. Ocampo further back with a track limits warning of his own. Davi Cerqueira running up in the top 10. Seems like a rarity for this Brazilian driver to be running up in the top positions, but he really is trying to hold down the fort for his team. Hyperdrive Racing as Ortega gets passed by his teammate. Is he going to try and flat back at him, coming up into the hairpin? He tries to, but Verstio is making the launch on Francis Austin. They bang wheels there. A little bit of beating, banging and roughing him up. But now here comes Ortega to make the pass instead. Trying to move in front of his teammate. He does that quite quickly as everyone comes in. Perez is the only man in the top 5 to stay out with Ash Cornwell, who hops over the curbs and gets a 5-second time penalty for track limits. Bogdasarov goes off the track as well. We're likely going to see a lot of drivers is getting a little bit squirrely coming out of turn 1 there for Sims Takahana. Ahmed Cilia with a 5-second time penalty for track limits down in 14th place. Carrera's come in for what will likely be his final stop in this race. Alves with a time penalty for track limits. A lot of track limits infringements coming in. As on board we go with Danny Ortega. Just about holding on. 3 seconds is the margin between the top 2. Bogdasarov not within that 5-second window as Garcia getting a track limits time penalty as he tries to get past Davi Cerqueira side by side as Perez has dived down into pit lane. Garcia takes Cerqueira into the wall, out of the race for Nubert Nunez Garcia. Full course cautions come out. This is a perfect time to come in and serve a time penalty. Perez knows that. That's why he's down into the pits, and for Cerqueira, that's bad news for not just him, but his team Hyperdrive Racing. That was a defense that you just simply couldn't hold. You never could have held that defense correctly. And that's the type of thing that Cerqueira is just going to have to get used to again. There are rumors of him moving to the FG series with Envision. As in comes Verstio for his 5th, counted 5th stop. Your boy further up the road with a time penalty for track limits. Ash Cornwell, if he can make his tyres last at the end of this race, which would be a challenge, and if he can maintain the gap he's got to Bogdasarov, we're going to have another new race winner in this ChampCar World Series season. He can back off now. We're on to the penultimate lap. Lap 16 of 17 here in Phoenix, Arizona. Ash Cornwell, your race leader. Bogdasarov second from Remy LeBoy, but Bogdasarov really beginning to put some work through those soft compound tyres. 33% for Bogdasarov. He might be able to make it to the end if Sebastian Ocampo softs are anything to go by. You can't do more than 4 laps. He's at 9% as Takahana moves past. 3 seconds is the margin now for Cornwell. That's the virtual margin, including that time penalty he's got. Shen with a track limits warning further down the order in 11th place. That's net 10th. And now for Ocampo, he's hit 3%. That's going to be very touch and go to the end, but that does mean as Remy LeBeau has moved up into second, he's chasing after a victory here that could take him into the title battle for the man who won last time out in Belgium. He's got a rear puncher to begin this final lap, which now Ash Cornwell for Dale Coyne Racing leads. Could this be Dale Coyne's first race win of the season, coming by hands of a British driver? We'll have to wait for the checkered flag for that. He's coming through the second sector. As now, who is that coming up behind him? That's the lapped car of Davi Cerqueira. Austin getting a time penalty for track limits. As Ocampo is only now making his way through turn 1. Ooh! Sent it to the wall there almost for Cerqueira. Meanwhile, for Ash Cornwell, he's at 19%. He's put in the final sectors of his career. He's had so many occasions of bad luck. He took his first win in FG Series. He's going to do it again in the ChampCar World Series. Cornwell wins in Phoenix and takes a crown jewel win with it. As long as Remy LeBeau stays outside of that 5-second margin, which he has 7 seconds down. Bogdasarov suffering a full car puncture on that final lap, which dropped him down to 5th. Perez getting some very good points in his title challenge, as Austin hits 2% versus Theo getting a time penalty for causing a collision as he gets past Ocampo. Francis Austin suffering with a puncture coming to the line there. Vita Alves with a track limits warning as he comes to the line in 11th place. The last 2 men coming across the line will be versus Theo in 12th place, Ocampo with a full car puncture, and Davi Circulera for Hyperdrive Racing. A torrid day as their competitors in Target Chip Ganassi are 4th and 6th and scoring 20 points. Yikes. Circulera's not even trying to get past, and yeah. That's bad. Here's your podium. The British flag flies highly here in Phoenix. Ash Cornwell taking victory from Remy LeBeau. And 3rd place. Who else in 3rd? But Sims himself, Kazuki Sims Takahana, coming home in 3rd place. And this sets up an amazing back end of the championship as we look to the rest of your finishers. Perez in 4th from Bogdasarov and Palomino. Then it's Ortega, Shen, your boy, and Austin, the top 10. Outside of it, Alves from Countryman versus Theo, Ocampo with that full car puncture, and the 2 drivers who were a lap down being Ahmed Cilia and Davi Circulera. The non-finishers were Nunez Garcia, Hernandez, Lamfong, Matthew Hart, Sanchez, LeBeau, and Vansalau. In the championship, Sanchez may still lead in the points, but now both Target Chip Ganassis are chasing after him. 15 points margin between Sanchez and Perez. Nico Palomino, 3rd from Sebastian Ocampo, who's tied on points with Casper LeBeau. Then it's Ray Shen, Nunez Garcia, your boy, Bogdasarov, LeBeau, Sims Takahana, Cornwell, Austin, Dominic Vansalau, and Matthew Hart, the top 15. Outside of that 15, you've got versus Theo from Circulera, who drops to 17th in points from Charles Hernandez, Vita Alves, Lamfong, Danny Ortega, and Ahmed Cilia in the Constructors' Championship. Heading into Surface Paradise, Target Chip Ganassi, they lead on 139 points from Hyperdrive Racing and Sims Racing. Then it's Dale Coyne and Dreddy Green, KV Racing Tech, with a tie for 7th between Team Forsyth and Power Motorsport. Conquest Racing is 9th from Dragon Racing and Team Penske, who are tied in 10th. Well, we've had a non-score for Daf Sanchez so far this season. Now his first DNF in this ChampCar World Series season. Perez once again gaining points on the man from the Philippines, but it could have been a lot more had he won. Didn't seem like it was going to be so possible when Ash Cornwell had the run of his career. Definitely one of the stars to look towards next season, I'm sure. Reminder that you can still vote for the ChampCar and Formula E drivers. We've only got 2 more ChampCar races until that vote closes, of course, and the top 3 in that poll will be awarded with their fan boost for the rest of the season. Formula E will come up immediately after this, so from all of us here at Sparkplug Motorsport, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time then when the Electric Racing League returns.